Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode of the DevLife Unplugged podcast. I am your host, Ayomida Hassan, but everyone calls me Ayo. And I know it's been a while since I've uploaded an episode. I've been busy. By the time of recording, there would be an episode already out, so do check that out as well. And I am not alone today. I'm not alone. I have a special guest, someone I currently working with in the open source field, something I've never done before. And it's been a journey, a very beautiful journey. And yeah, Precious, welcome to the show, man. It's a pleasure to have you here. I think you're still on mute.
I thought
Yeah,
I
there you
thought I
go.
already did that. So I was using push too. Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. You can hear me clearly, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, good. I'm very happy to be here and to be on your show. My name is Precious. And yeah, I've been working together with Ayo. We've been, working on open source, doing a lot of source around open source. And yeah, I'm very happy to be on your show, Ayo. Thank you for
Thank
inviting me.
you. Thank you for coming. Okay, so before we get into open source and everything, tell me more about yourself. Who is Precious? What do you do? And yeah, give me more detail about that.
Yeah, so it's going to be long road because I have like a whole story around my life.
We
Okay,
have time.
so
We have time.
yeah, so I am Precious Ngube. I am currently a community manager. So, but then about myself, I studied mechatronics engineering. So that's like a combination of mechanical and electronics engineering, and
Okay.
I've been and I graduated along pretty 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and since then I've been working in tech. So, but the everything about me is that I came into, I found out about tech in 2016. I was working as I was just a student who came to Lagos, Nigeria. Meanwhile, I live in Nigeria. I'm just a student who came to Lagos, Nigeria for holiday, and then I visited Andela. I don't know if you know about Andela for visuals. So I visited Andela, and I was marveled. That's what I saw. I entered the building, an office. They have like a lot of young people doing amazing stuff, and I was like, oh wow, why am I not part of this? I want to be part of this. I asked them, please, can I be coming to just stay around and all? And they were like, oh no, you don't have to stay around. You need to go and learn how to code. You need to go and do this, do that. I was like, okay, so where do I start? And they said, oh, start learning from Free Code Camp. That was like what was raining then, you know. So I went from Free Code Camp. I started learning how to code. Then I went back to my school. I was learning how to build mobile apps with Android development. Then I was writing Java. So I went back to school and there was nothing much, there was no community in school, but in Lagos then I had community. My school is in another state which is very far away. So I came to my school and I saw that, oh okay, um people there was not really no community. People didn't even know about tech a lot in my school. So I decided to start a community in my school. So I called my friends, we started hosting events. I mean, we hosted events that nobody showed up, but
Yeah.
So we started hosting events. He also registered for the learning community, and then we are both learning Android development together. So we started working on that. We discovered other communities who were in town, in a community outside my school community. We visited them. We do go for hangouts, meetouts. We organize our own meetouts, and from there, the community started kicking out. A lot more people started registering for the same learning programs, and from there we grew the community. Currently in the school right now, I think they have about three. The ones I know of Aggressive Community, I know of Google Developer Students Club, and I know of Genesis Community. So, and these are like three very big community with at least 1,000 members each, right? And they all grew from the activities that we started back then in 2016, 2017, trying to build communities
And you're
around.
still and you're still enrolled with them. You're still with them till date.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm like an alumni because I graduated from the school, but then
Okay.
of course I'm still in contact with the people managing. In fact, yesterday I was having a chat with the community manager for the Google Developer Students Club in my school. So I was trying to see if we can do an event with them. So yeah, I'm still in talks with them, but I'm actively not a member because now I've graduated. So yeah, so I mean that was how we started. I started building communities. Then after some time, I went to my ITA. I was in I went to a community. I went to like I did my IT in a company called Genesis Tech Hub, owned by a bigger company called Tennessee Group. So while I was there, I learned front end development using React. So I I learned how to code, build websites with React. From then I started building websites. Of course, it was an interesting thing to do, building front ends. Then
So you're a front-end developer.
yes, I am a front end developer. But then the story progresses because now, like this year, I don't think. Look, I've written code this year, but I've not written like actively. I have done a lot little things around coding, but not built anything this year. I always try to do
Mm.
this year where I try to build at least one thing using coding in a year, just to also like
Yeah.
keep my skills fresh. But this year I haven't built anything personally. So I learned how to code in front end in React, JavaScript. Then I went back to school and I started a community of that company in my school. So that's the Genesis community. So remember I mentioned Ingressive community. Ingressive for good
Yeah.
is like a big NGO in Nigeria. So they have students clubs. So the Ingressive community, the Genesis community, and the Google Developer Students Club. These are like the three major communities in my university right now, and they all started from all the works that we did back then. So as you can see, like everything around me, even though I was coding and doing all these things, I was also very actively building communities along my journey, right? So when I graduated, I was actively looking for a job as a front-end developer. I didn't get anyone, but, and then I landed the role of a community manager in a blockchain company. So you already know what
Wait,
happened.
wait. So you moved from being the person that wanted to get into a community, right? And then you transitioned into blockchain.
Actually I moved from the guy who wants to get a front-end developer job to
Okay,
being the guy building a blockchain community.
okay, interesting.
So these things
Okay,
happen
go
like
on,
very,
go on.
very fast, So, but then when I went into blockchain, I had to start learning things around blockchain. I had to start learning, okay, what is a block? How do we, um, how does blockchain work? Because I needed to also, it was a community of users, right? So people that were using their blockchain products. So I needed to make sure that I could educate them, I could write blog posts, I could write newsletters, just to make sure that I could relate with their community because they have community of developers, they had a community of users and all those stuff. So I was there, I was the one, doing all those things for them. So I was also at the same time learning a lot about blockchain, learned about NFTs, how do they work, tokens, tokenization, and all those things. I was still there, and then it was a startup, so they were not able to raise, and they had to shut down after a period. Then I started. That was when I now accepted the fact that I'm a community builder and a manager instead of keep looking for a front end dev role. I started now looking for a community manager role. So after some time, I got a job in a gaming company. So I've moved from blockchain now to gaming.
So you moved into gaming. Wow. So that's three positions
I
that you
mean
tried.
not at the same time. So
Okay.
I was still a community manager for a gaming community. I don't know if you get that. Yeah, so I was a community manager for a gaming community. So we I no I got in there. It was they also have players and they have builders. So it was two things: community of players and community of builders. So and I was the guy in the middle who is making sure that the company and the players are in sync, the players and the builders are in sync. right?
Okay.
So it was a very interesting journey because I learned a lot about gaming, game production, things involving gaming, indie hackers. I learned about Twitch, how people stream their games, and it was a whole lot in the gaming industry. Well, it was a very interesting industry because I really find game developers fascinating, like the way they live.
Yeah, gaming is interesting. I would like gaming is interesting.
Yeah,
As a part-time gamer myself, it's something I'd do if I wasn't coding, and you know, if I had to choose a different role,
yeah,
I'll actually go into gaming as a
yeah.
profession. But yes, so now tell me, how did you journey into open source? Where did that come about?
Yeah, so while I was in gaming, I think it was a friend of mine that linked me up with Tublian. I was like, oh, there's this community, these guys, they're building this amazing product and they need to break into the African and the Indian markets. Do you think
Okay.
you're up for the challenge? And personally, I love challenges, right? So he linked me up with Nilanjan, we spoke, and then I got in on the job. So when I got in on the job, we didn't really have open source at the time. We didn't really have open source at the time. I think we started doing open source around. mm, I joined in March. We didn't start open source until around June. That was when we started doing open source. That was when we were able to build the whole, the AI. Our open source platform is kind of unique because we have like AI backends, a lot of AI things happening on that whole just to make sure that you're getting personalized projects that are related to your skill. The search is like one very big feature. Like sometimes we are having brainstorming on that search bar, and I'm wondering, is it just search that we are talking about like this? So a lot of things goes down on that. So that was when we were able to crack how to make open source work. That was around June last year, and then we went in heavily into open source. But when I joined, it was simply to build a community of developers, right? Now,
Okay.
while we were building a community of developers, we also find out that, oh, okay, so at Tublian we have. I think this is the point where I get to talk about Tublian, right?
Yes, yes.
So at Tublian, we are very passionate about developers, right? So we want to
Okay.
help the junior dev. We don't say junior, we say emerging. So we want to help the emerging devs grow in their career, 10x. And then those that feel like, oh, I'm already a senior, we are going to help you gain more visibility. So that's the underlying idea behind Tublian, right? So
Okay.
everything we do revolves around these things. And so we we started, you know, working on how to make it work. So that was how we bumped into open source because open source is going to help a lot of junior devs gain visibility. It's going to help a lot of senior devs gain, you know, it's going to also help them learn skills and gain experience, real world experience. So we went into open source. So that was how I got into open source. It was in a bid that Tublian was trying to solve a unique problem, which is the problem of um, helping junior devs 10x their career and help senior devs gain visibility. So that was how I got into open source. So that was even how Tublian started open source, and that was how I got into open source and everything
Okay. And then
that we have worked on together and started from there.
okay. And then who exactly started the whole Tublian company? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so Nilanjan had this idea of street cred. So everything you see on Tublian started with the simple idea of street cred that says, oh, how do I prove to a hiring manager or to a HR person that I I know this job? So for example, um, there's someone who has worked in a company for 6 years, right?
Okay.
Working on only JavaScript, right?
Yes.
And this person has worked in one company for 6 years. So when this person submits his or her CV for a job interview, he's going to say, I have 6 years experience working on JavaScript, right?
Yes.
So now, and probably this person is working in a big company, and your task is not just making sure that everything is working smoothly. You're not doing anything innovative, you're not doing anything new. You are only just making sure that things are working smoothly. So, and this person is just going to come in and quote that I have 6 years experience. So now, how do you check if this person really have this experience, or if this person even have the experience that you are looking for? Now, imagine another developer who is contributing to open source, volunteering for teams, answering questions on Stack Overflow, going for hackathons, and this person can't even say he has 1 year experience. I don't know if you get
Yeah,
that.
that's something else. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this other person who has been doing hackathons, working on different projects, has, in my book, more experience because he is more versatile. He has worked on a lot of projects. In my book, he's better experience than this person who is just here making sure that the code is working smoothly, right? But now,
But would
when
you
you put,
say, sorry, I wanted to inject it a little bit. Would
yeah,
you say someone with a a high profile of projects is more qualified than a person who doesn't? Because an individual or a programmer can have a certain amount of projects in the GitHub repository, but then they don't necessarily have the qualifications needed per se as to a person who doesn't have much projects or the goal is to make sure that the code works. Do you think that's sometimes the case?
so I think it depends on what the hiring manager is looking for, right? So
Yeah.
for a startup, let's say the company is a startup, I know their requirements is pretty different, so they want you to know how to write front end and understand how back end works, right? Because sometimes they might
Yeah.
need you to, because it's a startup is almost like a fast-paced company. They need you to also like be able to go into the back end and be able to do one or two things, plug in this there, plug in that there, get those kind of things, right? So
Yeah.
then there is also another big company might say that, oh, our tool is built with JavaScript, but we are trying to move it into Python. You get? Or we're trying
Yeah.
to build in some features in Python. So at the end of the day, most companies still want you to have like diverse skills and experiences.
Just someone versatile.
Yeah, as a developer, yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that it depends on what the company works, what the company wants, and what works for them, right? So
Okay.
um that's just that's why I made that analogy. So if the company A wants, oh, a developer that really knows how to code, that can get things done, that can build stuffs, right? You can't hire the person who has been in one company making sure that their code that was written 10 years ago is just working fine. You have to hire the one who has been building stuffs. And now, when we don't quantify, um, when we hire using based on years of experience, there is no way for us to quantify so how will the person that has been going for hackathons or contributing to open source, writing code, how is that person supposed to prove their years of experience? Because if you've not worked for any company, in quotes, everybody's going to assume you don't have experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So how do we quantify their work? How do we say that this work, this how do we show that this is what the work is worth? So you get,
Yeah.
so that is what Neil thought about, and he said, okay, so what if we have a number that can say, oh, this is what I have, this is what we have been able to, this number shows how good I am in doing
Okay.
stuff like this, right? That was how he came up with the street cred number. So the street cred number is a number that shows that, oh, okay, this person knows this. So it always stops, when you contribute to more open
Yeah.
source, it tops off and all those kind of things. And then it's a lot of things going on under hood. But then when you are creating your Tublian account, we ask you to connect a lot of your platforms, your YouTube, your dev.to account, your blogs, your social media accounts, your GitHub account, of course. You only have GitHub login. Now, it aggregates all your activities and it gives you a number. So this number is what the recruiter is going to look at and say, oh, okay, this person knows this, this, this. and then we can hire this person. So that numbers covers for saying, oh, this person doesn't have experience. You can simply say, but this person has 70 street cred. So which means this
Yeah.
person knows what he or she is doing. You see, it's like a whole chain. So we are aggregating, and we also understand that learning is not just about you coding and putting things on YouTube. So let's say you're watching a movie and you see something about coding. Like for example, last week I was watching Playlist. Is a movie on Spotify. Is a movie on Netflix about how Spotify was founded, right? And then the guy made this analogy of how the internet works, and he explained trading, right? And I was like, oh wow, nice. So imagine if I think I tweeted it. I tweeted about it. Of course, Tublian catches that because why? That is learning, right? So, but in the
Yeah.
traditional system, we don't even have a way to quantify that. Oh, I was able to learn this while watching a movie because, of course, it will capture it as if I was watching a movie and I wasn't really learning.
Learning. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are stuff that we do. So we take all these activities, social media, GitHub, all these activities, and we break them and we're saying, oh, this number shows that this person knows this. So both from learning, from open source contributions, from even your personal projects that you are building, we are using that to give you a number. So we are also working on another phase where recruiters come on our platform and they hire people based on their street cred. Yeah.
Okay, so
So
people can actually get hired.
yeah, people can actually get
The street
hired based
cred.
on their street cred. Yeah, so that is like the next phase of what we are building, you know. And then we also have a lot of other stuffs coming in with AI agents and operating system, trying because we believe in AI. We are very pro AI, so we have a lot of other things coming up in the hood. Yeah. So, but that is
Okay.
I didn't want to
And
jump into that. I feel like we'll still get there, but that is
yeah.
like the how Tublian started and what the problem that Nilanja was trying to solve when he started Tublian.
Okay, now before we get into the AI features, is is the Tublian open source community open for beginners, people that are new to coding? Is it beginner friendly? And the internships, because I know you guys do offer internships. You guys have had like two successful cohorts already, and I've been part of the first one, right? And you guys already have a third one currently going on. How is that? If someone wants to get into that, what are the requirements? What would they need?
Oh, so yeah, Tublian open source community is very beginner friendly, and it is open to everyone, whether you're a beginner, you're a pro, anybody, you are free to join the community. And then yeah, we have an internship. The internship actually takes in everybody, no matter your level of experience. Now everything on Tublian is personalized with that. I don't know if I've talked about it on this, but I don't think I have. So when you log in on your platform, you go to www.tublian.com. You log in on your platform. Your dashboard is totally different from another person's dashboard. From the notifications I'm seeing to my connection to even the suggested projects and the job opportunities. I mean, Ayo, you're in South Africa. If you open your dashboard, you're going to see jobs in South Africa. If I open my
True.
dashboard, I'm going to see jobs in Nigeria, right? So we try to make everything on the platform personalized, personalized down to even the explore page. When you go to our explore page, it's a page where we just populate, articles and interesting things that we feel like is interesting to you based on your job experience and your programming languages and all the stuff that you do, based on our GitHub analysis of you, right? What we suggest to you is different from what will be suggested to me. So we have a lot of AIs on the hood, showing all these things. So Tubular platform is personalized. So if you are a beginner, you don't have a problem because everything is personal to you. We understand that you're a beginner. We're going to show you beginner-friendly open source project. You can also query for your own projects, So it's open for everybody and it's beginner-friendly. Then our internship is also open for everybody. We have a cohort currently ending. I don't know when the next cohort will be starting, but we'll have a cohort. We'll be starting another cohort very soon. And most importantly, we even have an AI internship coming up. So we believe that every developer should know how to code in AI. And like I told you, we are very passionate about developers. And we want to
True.
have this. We are designing an internship where developers will come in and learn how to code using AI. Right.
Yeah.
So that
And I can
is,
attest to that because when I got into Tublian right after graduation, right? Because I was still busy with ALX as a software engineer. So post graduation, I was still wondering if this was something I wanted to carry on. Do I still want to continue programming? And then Tublian came up around. I got into the open source, and this was my first time, right? I never knew
yeah,
what open source was. I didn't know I could contribute to other repositories and code bases, right? So
yeah,
yeah, I think my experience so far with Tublian has been wonderful. The project here is all beginner friendly. The the tasks itself are based on your experience, and myself being a front end developer, as expected, React, a couple React projects, JS projects as well, Python,
yeah,
uh, a couple of C projects, and this is all based on the information I put in, right? Based on my GitHub, my LinkedIn as well. Yeah, I think my entire profile was curated based on what my experience was. And then the internship, of course, I did not finish, right? And then I think I still, if the next one comes up, yeah, I think I will try that out. And the AI, I'll look forward to that. But yeah, you guys made me an ambassador as well, which was also interesting. I became a Tublian ambassador. Um, but yeah, that was really awesome. And AI, speaking of AI, you guys do have an AI system in place called AT20. Would you mind telling me more about that?
yeah. So 80/20 is our way of saying people should learn what they want to learn very fast, especially developers. So we understand that learning is part of our everyday life. As especially as developers, we can't even do without learning because you're either learning how to, create a form in HTML, or you're learning how to create a database using Go or Rust, right? So,
Yeah.
or you're even learning how to delete something on a database in AWS. So we're always learning. So what we did with 80/20 was that we said, oh, how can people focus on the 20% and learn 80% of this stuff, right? So that is how the name came about, 80/20.
AT20.
Yeah. So we focus on the 20% for you to be able to learn the 80% of the stuff. So we are looking at speed and effectiveness. So
Okay.
with 80/20, so the 80/20 is just like ChatGPT that helps you to create a course. So we looked at it. Internet is very noisy. So
Yeah.
how, let's say I want to learn how to code. I want to learn how to code in JavaScript. There are a lot of free resources on the internet, but where do I start and where do I end?
True.
Someone can say buy a course. Let's not go there anyways. But then there are a lot of, there are a lot of free courses because even there you are buying
Yeah.
a course, right? So now what we are saying is you go on your laptop, you go to tublian.com, on your dashboard, you go to 80/20 and you say hi. Remember, we already know a lot of stuff about you, a lot of things about you, right? Your dashboard is already personalized. And then you are saying, hey, I understand C++, but now I want to learn JavaScript. So instead of you going through all those resources on the internet trying to find which one is good, the
Yeah.
AI is going to create a good course for you, a flow. This is where you start. Week one, do this, watch this video, read this article. Then after that, we ask you questions to make sure that you understand the skill. You pass that question, you complete, you move on to the next one. So that's what we
Okay.
have we're doing with 80/20. But now there's also another interesting part of 80/20, which I personally discovered recently, is where, for example, I work as a community manager and I'm like looking at, oh, the engagements. I'm trying to look at, oh, okay, so how can I get this engagement up, right? I can easily,
Yeah.
I just go on 80/20 and say, oh, I have this developer community. You know how to write prompts. There was a time we are doing sessions on prompt engineering. So you go in and tell 80/20 that, oh, I know this is the kind of community I have, this is what I'm trying to achieve, and then you put in all your details and ask it. It's going to generate a course for you to learn just that particular thing. So now, imagine if I had to buy a course on you, then you have to buy a course on community management and now start learning everything from beginning to the end.
Yeah,
And I'll
true.
feel guilty if I don't finish the course. I feel like I've wasted my money, right?
Yeah.
So, but 80/20 is cheap. Like I think it's less than $5, right? So now, if you use a prompt on 80/20, it's going to create all these things for you based on all the free access we have on the internet. So we are not even
Okay.
charging you for the materials because we don't own them, right? But what it takes for us to generate this course is what we are looking at. So we have like a bunch of engineering that went down on that route so that once you type in your prompts, it's going to generate a course and a flow, a structure for you to learn whatever thing you want to learn. And it's very fast to learn with 80/20. You go in one module, should have like 4 materials, you just watch them, read the articles, and then you're on to the next one. We ask you some questions to test your knowledge, and then we even suggest open source contributions you can contribute to so that you can gain hands-on experience.
Mm.
So
Okay,
it's a wonderful
so
thing. I really believe everyone should try it out.
yes. So before we close, if let's say anyone watching us right now wants to get into 80/20 or actually get into Tublian as a beginner and wants to use 80/20, right? Will they be able to get the necessary resources needed as a beginner for beginners, right?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
mentioned, like free code camp as well.
yeah.
Are the resources the same? Are they curated the same for someone who's still beginning out?
Yeah, so if you're starting out in tech and you want to, I advise you use 80/20 because 80/20 is very, very effective. So you go on Tublian, you create an account. Once you create an account, we're going to give you free credits. You come with free credits. I believe the free credits will be enough for you to learn anything you want to learn. So you just go in and you can type and say, hey, I want to learn JavaScript. And then it generates a course on JavaScript for you, right? And then now you're not just watching videos and you don't know what next is supposed to come and all those kind of things. You just click generate and it's going to give you how to everything you need to know about JavaScript from beginning to the end, from
To the end.
beginner to advanced. No cuts, everything is going to be generated for you on the go. In less than 10 minutes, these things are in front of you. I mean, I'm using 80/20 to learn things like product management. I know someone using it to learn NFTs, someone is using it to learn Web3, a lot of stuff
I
starting
use
so
it for
far.
APIs.
There's
I
someone,
use it for
oh,
backend.
oh, you use it for backend. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I
So, I
tested
mean,
it out. I think the time when we were testing it out, I tested it out for backend.
yeah,
Just wanting to go into backend development. But yeah, it's a cool system. It's a really cool system. It's just like any ordinary AI, but in
yeah,
this case, it's really teaching you something that you want to learn, especially as a beginner and someone who wants to go into coding or open source. It's really a
yeah,
good tool to be
yeah,
utilized.
yeah.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the podcast. Precious, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us more insight. I know that you're probably busy and you probably have a community call to attend to right now. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. The link to the Tublian website will be in the description. Um, you heard it yourself, guys. If you guys want to go to open source as a beginner and not sure where to start, Tublian is by far the best recommendation I can give. And if you like it, please drop a comment, leave a like, and be sure to subscribe. And until next time, happy coding.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. See you next time.
Yes.